Come on, everybody. How y'all doing? Welcome. We have something to say. Sorry about the lateness. It's my fault, not Kenneth's fault. Something else going on this morning.
Yeah, it's called Donald
Yeah.
Trump syndrome.
Huh?
I said it's called Donald Trump syndrome.
Hey, man, look. We could do a lot of shit, but don't do that. You could do a lot of shit. Don't do that. You could do a lot of complaints and a lot of insults, but keep that motherfucker to yourself.
Damn, over here choking over the
A lot
insult.
of
That was so
insults.
bad.
So I'm about to start with violence this morning. I'm gonna get some folks off, and I really don't give a damn. Exactly why I don't fucking watch the NFL, because y'all niggas crazy. It's exactly why I don't watch the NFL. I don't watch the NFL because Joey Bosa got to do something that a black dude could never do. And they insult y'all to y'all face, and y'all keep giving them y'all money because y'all got to be distracted by sports. He can get on goddamn air, have a damn hat on, not get fined. Not one teammate said shit to him publicly, and y'all wonder why they treat black men the way they treat him, because you ain't got no fucking balls or will. Only Ryan Clark said something that was worth a damn. Y'all ain't willing to give up shit for your comfort and your fucking entertainment. This is exactly why I haven't watched a full NFL game since Colin Kaepernick. I hope y'all get to eat this shit. All of y'all. I don't give a fuck how y'all feel. This is exactly why, because you don't have no will to goddamn say enough is enough. He got there and publicly goddamn made a statement that no other black person in the NFL could do. None. Zero. Not one. Without getting damn near ran out the league. And no black support, which is why they won't stand up, because they know the general black population is so enamored with winning in football teams that they can't say shit because black people won't even support them. Exactly why I stopped watching this shit. Exactly why I stopped. Exactly why I have a hard time even talking about this shit, because it goes so against my principle. Because I'm like, goddamn, how much more can somebody shove us shit without motherfuckers saying we contribute this many billions of dollars to that organization every year, and we can't collectively have the will to say we ain't watching the shit just to send the message. He can get on national television and do what he did and not get a fine. And it'd be all over the place and not get one fine, because they know black people will never walk away from their entertainment and their fandom.
Hold on. Let's
What?
back up a little bit. Colin Kaepernick never got fined for what he did.
Colin Kaepernick got ran out the league.
Hold on, that's two totally different things.
That's not the point.
And the other point is this. Hold on. And somebody pointed this out yesterday. I was listening to Karen Hunter's show yesterday. And something that one of her guests said, his name Broderick something. He's the black guy that tips. I think that's his handle. But anyway, one interesting thing he said the difference between Bosa and Kaepernick. When Bosa, Colin Kaepernick, he told everybody, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And he never let it go. To his credit, he never let it go. Forget the money, get this, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to let it. This is why I'm taking this stance. Bosa, on the other hand, with his punk ass, has never said anything. When they asked him about that, at the press conference, he never said a word. He just had the hat on. That's the difference between the two. Now, mind you, I said before Nick Bosa even got into the league that he wasn't shit.
Wait. Before you go off that tangent, the NFL rules state that you cannot make political.
Okay, but the thing is this: they have said, I have read that they are going to punish him.
Let me finish.
Now, what it's going to be is a different story.
Going into the campaign office with a MAGA hat on has nothing to do with.
I was going to talk about that.
It has nothing to do with what Bosa said or didn't say. The NFL's own rules state.
Okay. And they said they're going to punish him. But
man,
I don't give a shit about that.
I know you don't. I do. I don't give a fuck about that. I do. I give a damn about motherfuckers at some point.
Hold on, man. Listen.
Stop doing that.
Fuck Nick Bosa. Fuck the 49.
Go for it.
Fuck both of them. Fuck the whole team. I don't give a flying fuck about Nick Bosa or the fucking 49ers. I ain't like that motherfucker since the 80s. So I damn sure don't give a damn about him now.
What if it had been Dallas?
If I'm in Dallas, same shit. Let's say this. First of all, when Nick Bosa showed you who he was back in 2016 or something like that. He showed us who he was. Yeah. So him doing that, I knew who he was.
Yes.
I knew exactly who he was beforehand. I don't give a fuck about Nick Bosa. As far as I'm concerned, his fucking career could end today. And I still wouldn't give a fuck because I never liked the motherfucker. He's always been a fucking racist.
What does that mean?
So why are we wasting time talking about that motherfucker? We got more important shit to talk about.
You want me to tell you?
I don't. The NFL punishes him, and I don't care. I don't care, man.
Do you want me to tell you on the screen? Do you want me to tell you on the screen?
No. You're going to go on a 15-minute tangent about fucking Nick Bosa. Fuck that bitch-ass motherfucker.
Let me know you finish.
Fuck him.
Let me know you finish. You finished?
No.
I want to make sure I heard what you said.
Because I want to talk about some shit that's
no.
What the fuck goes on with his life? I don't give a fuck if the NFL punishes him. It ain't gonna make a difference in my life.
Let me know you finished. You finished?
All right, go ahead.
Let me make sure I heard you.
I reserve the right to check your ass when you say something wrong, though.
Let me know.
Go ahead.
Are you finished?
Go ahead. But I'm gonna check your ass when you're wrong.
Let me know you fucking finished.
You ready to be checked?
No, let me know you finished.
No, go ahead. Say your piece. I'm still gonna check.
I'm not saying you care about Nick Bosa personally. It's not my point. You know that's not my point. You know me well enough on the show to know that's not my point. But if you don't want me to have a visceral reaction to some of the stuff that's happened, a visceral reaction, then you got to have the will to say, y'all can't keep holding this double standard. You can't keep coming up with technical issues when somebody gets on the show and say, hey, it was just different. Let me tell you why it was different. The issue is they know that there's no punishment or consequences for the stuff that they do from our community, period. Even money-wise, you have had the blueprint, not you, us. Our community's had the blueprint since the 1950-something Montgomery bus boycott. It's the will to do it. I get you got to make your money. I get that you don't want your money to go away. I get that you want to have a good life. I understand all of that. I feel it myself. But at some point, you got to act like you don't see it and won't do anything about it when they collectively do it with the only thing you have the power to do. You only got the power to do one thing. I've said this for 1,000 times. Remove your bodies. Just say, hey, man, that's a bridge too far. Now, come on. If you're gonna collectively punish him and you're gonna collude to punish him, which is what they did. We know they colluded to punish Colin Kaepernick. If you're gonna collude to punish him, at least give him a public slap on the wrist to say, no, the rules are the rules. The rules, that's all I'm saying. And I'm saying until you collectively say, it's not like it's never, and you know this too, we never asked for anything unreasonable. Never. We don't ask for anything. We never ask for anything unreasonable. But to keep letting them do it in our face, I'm gonna see if Mike can understand this. Because you and I have talked about this. It's one thing to be on the playground. We learned these rules on the playground. You know it. It's one thing to be on the playground in pickup basketball and to lose. It's another thing to be on the playground and pick up basketball and the team that beat you to keep talking shit to you while you're on the sidelines, and you get madder. It's not the losing that bothers you. It's the constantly put it in your face that makes you want to get in and say, let me get back on the court and prove something to them. And the will to do it. It's the same feeling. It's you telling me there's not one player on that team. Not one player on that team. Let me take this back. I guarantee you this. Because after it happened, honestly, I had more respect for Terrell Owens. And before, I used to be one of the dudes to say, well, I wish Terrell would shut the hell up. But now I got more respect for Terrell Owens. Because Terrell Owens has the type of personality that if he was anywhere, and he might be, I don't know, I'm not saying he is or not, anywhere politically astute, he would have went back in the locker room and he would have told Nick Bosa, you better shut the fuck up or I'll beat your ass. Terrell Owens would have did that shit. Terrell Owens would have stood 10 toes down. And he would have said, hey, man, look, we don't need this dissension in the locker room. You know you shouldn't have done that. He wouldn't have been nice about it. It would have got out that Terrell Owens walked up and confronted Nick Bosa and said, hey, look, we already having the season on this way, and we don't need this. And that's what Terrell Owens would have did. Because Terrell Owens would have been like, hey, it's right or wrong. Because no matter what I think about Terrell Owens, whenever I've seen him, he stood 10 toes down on what he thought was his principal issue. 10 toes down. When they asked him about the Hall of Fame, he was like, man, I don't like the way they treated me. I don't think I've been treated fairly. You can agree or disagree with him. But he stood on his principles. And if Terrell Owens had been in that locker room, he would have went and say, bro, you know, if I can't goddamn cause no dissension in the locker room, you and your political issues ain't gonna do it either. You're not gonna do it either. Period. Shut the fuck up. Don't do that again. And with it, because Terrell Owens was known for challenging anybody on the team because they didn't think they could kick his ass. That's my issue. My issue is the NFL players, bruh. Isn't there anybody that'll stand up for us? Anybody? But let me get off my diatribe. The downside to that is, why should I stand up if I'm not sure the community is going to back me financially, emotionally, physically, all that stuff? If I stand up, then the community's like, no, bro, don't worry about your money because we're gonna take care of that money because you took a stance. That's on us. So now that we got the show started off, go ahead and say what you got to say. Don't act like you falling asleep while I'm talking either. That's an insult.
I was listening to what you were saying. I was not falling asleep. I've had plenty of sleep last night. Slept very good. In response to that, the NFL players, most of whom are, I shouldn't say most of it, there's quite a few millionaires up in there. Millionaires who focus on whatever. As far in the world of sports these days, you don't have too many players standing up for stuff. Something else I heard yesterday. I got into the Karen Hunter show a few weeks ago.
Yeah, you're right, Mike. You're right about that, Mike. In a way, yeah, I get it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But anyway, on the show they were talking about something, a possible show, a possible something that came out that Mahomes and his wife were thinking about buying an NBA team. And the commentator, the same guy, the smart guy that tips, he said, whatever Mahomes' wife's name is, she don't want none of that smoke.
Brittany.
Yeah, she don't want none of that smoke. She don't want none of that. She don't want to have to deal with none of that because he brought up the fact that what the Atlanta Dream as a team did to Kelly Loeffler when she ran against Raphael Warnock for the Senate 6 years ago. How many years ago that was? I can't remember how many years it was. But that whole team actually turned against her to the point where she had to sell the team. The league made her sell the team.
She ain't never forgot it. She back for revenge.
Yeah, she the whole team. I mean, that team went up. When I say they went off, they were campaigning against her, and she was the owner of the team.
Owner of the team.
And those women basically said, you are not going to treat us like we're slaves. No, you may own the team, but you don't own us. So guess what? We're going to campaign against your opponent. A campaign for your opponent. And eventually he won. They took a stand. Those ladies, we've said this before, there are a lot more women out there that are willing to take a stance, a public stance on stuff than men. Too many men in our community are worried about their status and losing that status or possibly losing that status. Those young ladies on that team was like, I don't care. And they weren't even making that much money. That's another thing too. WNBA players back then didn't make much money. I think their average salary maybe between $50,000 and $75,000 a year.
Right.
Which, you know, to us, $50,000 to $75,000 a year is not a bad salary. I'd be happy with $75,000 a year. I'd definitely be happy with that. But to a player, a professional player, that's not that much money. So they risked everything to get her out of the league. These young men that are playing football, and a lot of them that play basketball, will not take a stance like that because they don't want to lose that. They don't want to lose it. LeBron James came out and endorsed Kamala Harris the other day. And I was waiting on him to do it because I knew he was going to do it. I knew he was supporting her. That much I did know. I was waiting on him. 75,000 for 6 months. Yeah. But I was waiting on LeBron. Well, actually, I take that back. I was not waiting on him to do it. I didn't think he was going to do it. Not because I didn't think he supported her. I just think he just didn't want to take the because when he took a stance on something a few years ago and somebody told him just shut up and dribble. Or just shut up and play ball, or just shut up and dribble, something to that effect. And I know he took offense to it. A lot of athletes took offense to it, but they still ain't stand up for something. So LeBron James, at this point in his career, 20, 21 years, something like that, damn near billionaire, all this stuff, he has nothing to lose. He's going to win no matter what. So I get what you're saying, that players need to take a stance on things. Some of them are afraid because they're just getting established in the league, or they don't want to lose their position. They don't want to lose fans or this and that and all that. It's just a myriad of reasons. Or it could be just fear. The NFL, the league, different leagues have put the fear of losing in their mind, that they will lose everything if they take a stance. Because
for the black players,
I don't know if they do it for the white. Well, black players, you know,
Well, I would say this.
We've been politically, we have been taught not to put ourselves out there, and it's not a thing where we're being told that explicitly. It's some age-old thing that we've been taught. Just like we talk about, you know, I'm sure when your sons were younger, when your son was younger, those of us who have sons, we gave them the speech. And some of us may have given it to our daughters too, the speech. Hey, when you get pulled over by the police, blah, 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 blah. That speech. This is what you do. This is what you don't do. We've given them that speech. And we've given them that speech because in our lifetime, when we were growing up, we were given that speech in some form or fashion. So we sort of pull that along with, tell that to our children, not because there's an expectation that they need to, that they have an expectation of fear, but an expectation of, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm losing my thought. But an expectation that that things we should do, be fearful of what you can lose in certain situations. And we've passed that along because if we look back in history, Muhammad Ali, he lost everything because of his stance in Vietnam and his stance on rights, on civil rights. He lost everything for a while. I shouldn't say he lost everything, but he lost his championship belt, the chance to make millions of dollars because of his stance. America doesn't want its black athletes taking a stance on anything. They want them to be just warriors, and that's it. I
hear what you're saying. I see what Mike says, and I want to ask this question as an honest question. have you ever looked back on the Montgomery boycott, bus boycott, and looked at the nuances of the boycott and not ask yourselves how they did it? And not ask yourselves, would those people be scared to think that they would lose everything? Those people who boycotted for all those days. And what was the nuance behind that? Because I have, and here's what I've come to. The nuance was that they stood together as a group and said, if whatever you need, I'm going to supply. And as a group, so if you lose your job, okay, we're going to get together and make sure your bills are paid. Because if you don't have that, you can't keep the movement together. Because that's how you fracture a movement, is for people to be scared. And like Mike just said, the NBA, the contracts are guaranteed. The NBA, and Mike can correct me on this if I'm wrong. One of the things about all the NBA strikes, and I heard Kobe talk about this one day. One of the things about all the NBA strikes is the NBA players know the players. So what the top players, the top superstars did was they created a pool of money for the players down on the bench so that they wouldn't fracture the strike, because they understood that those guys were going to start losing money, so that they could dip into this pool to keep their bills paid, particularly ones who weren't really financially astute. You know, we know a lot of them, from Anton Walker to what was the big boy out of New York, the center out of New York from Chicago, who no longer plays, a young kid, who blow through this money. The top players who are smart always understood that there were other players from other dynamics. So they created this pool so that the strike wouldn't fracture. And the question and I'll be a devil's advocate here on your point. If the players are scared that they have something to lose, why wasn't Nick Bosa? Nick Bosa wasn't scared he had something to lose, because Nick Bosa knows that he has a community that will come back up and support him for the money that he's lost. That's a community issue. I've been saying that for a while. And I agree. I don't think Ali is the same thing. But here's the thing about Ali. Ali would have been fine. And we don't want to have this hard conversation, because for some reason, we get into this, don't put our business out in the open, don't do this, don't do that. Ali only suffered because the community didn't have the will, whatever you want to call it, to say, we're not going to let you lose your financial support because you're standing up for us. One of the reasons why I heard Marvis Frazier talk about this one day, because I don't want to go off on too many tangents. Marvis Frazier was talking about why Joe Frazier did not like Muhammad Ali. And he said he asked his father, Pops, why can't you let this go? And Joe Frazier told him, man, when he decided to lost his crown because of his beliefs, I respected him and I looked up to him. So when I know he was going through hard times and I was still making money, I would literally give him $1,000 in his hands in cash, because I respected it, because he understood what he had given up. And without him, there was really no Frazier, not for those purses, because Muhammad Ali was the boat that lifted all boats. When you have somebody like LeBron James that steps out, he shouldn't be the only one. He should just be the lead dog. Like Mike said, you got guaranteed contracts.
But you have the problem is these young men and these young people, period. Too many of them are not politically astute. They don't understand the consequences of any of a Trump presidency, because they've never had to deal with anything like that. They some of a great deal of probably come from impoverished areas. Let's say that, and they've come up. One, they don't want to go back to that. Two, they've probably never, because they were athletes, good athletes where they were from, they were probably treated differently than the average student. You got to look at that, and as I said, this too many of this generation, because I teach them, they really and truly just don't know what's going on in the world beyond TikTok, and social media. They have no idea. If it doesn't come to them across in Instagram or TikTok or something like that, They don't know what's going on. They can't tell you anything. They can't tell you anything. So you have a generation of young people that may or may not be aware that they should know that there's an election going on, but they may or may not even be registered to vote. And all of them are eligible to vote. Every single one of them eligible to vote. But they may not even be registered. They don't care.
That. You say that.
Unfortunately, they don't.
So are you suggesting? Okay, so let me ask this. I'm
not suggesting anything.
Okay.
In terms of.
So the question comes back down to the same thing we're talking about. And Mike just addressed it in his statement. If you don't feel like the community at large,
it ain't about the community. What? Listen. First of all, my thing is this: why should this community support a millionaire?
I'm gonna tell you. You know what?
Somebody. Hold on.
No.
Listen to what I'm saying.
You asked the question. Let me answer.
Hold on. Let me clarify what I'm saying.
Go for it.
Let me clarify what I'm saying.
Go for it.
What I'm saying is this: if I'm struggling financially, trying to make my ends meet, and a player comes out and says a player who's making $20 million a year, and he loses endorsement deal because of his political stance. You still got a $20 million guaranteed contract. I'm still struggling to pay bills.
You want me to
your situation, you want me to help you when you're down, but I'm always down.
Do you want me to answer that question?
Will you let me finish my statement? You can answer it.
Go for it. You asked the question.
You always got to interrupt me while I'm talking.
You asked the question.
I asked the question, but I was clarifying what I was saying.
My bad. Go for it. My bad. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No. I'm sorry.
Now I was flowing, and you messed me up. Damn. Go ahead, man.
I just want to.
I've been listening.
I just want to ask that one question that you asked. This has been a prevalent conversation and attitude in our community, which is why we never can move forward. Why should I support a millionaire? You have a $200 billion billionaire who is spending his money to address policies that we know, you and I both know, will hurt our community directly.
Okay, but let me ask you this.
I'm not finished.
Is Elon, hold on. Is Elon Musk? You talking about Elon Musk?
No.
No. Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about?
Let me answer the question.
But still tell me who you're talking about.
I'm talking about Elon Musk. You know that. But
that's all I asked.
I can give you 10 billionaires on that side.
Okay, go ahead with your point.
And I can give you 10 billionaires on that side. What's up, Steven? Steven, if you do not support the people, and I'm glad Steven's on here because I'm gonna say something that I got a problem with my Morehouse brothers. If you do not support the billionaires who put themselves on the line for you, and they're the only ones that have that platform to be able to speak up for your community. And I'm not saying that if you own welfare, you should support. I will say this, though. I know a lot of goddamn people on welfare that's still tied to the church. I know a lot of goddamn women that can't pay their goddamn bills and still tied to that pastor. I know a lot of them motherfuckers. And that pastor ain't doing shit.
So aggressive this morning.
I don't give a damn because it's time to be aggressive. We have talked nicely about this shit, and you just asked a question that I really think should be answered. If you have a billionaire who is addressing concerns in our community, and he is putting himself on the line by addressing it, what I'm not going to do is go, oh, well, you know, he done just lost goddamn $1 billion, but he got $1 billion and he okay. What I'm going to do and what the community should do when there's 42 million of us is say, man, what you lose It's 42 million of us.
Man, come on,
man.
Come on now. Hold on.
No,
okay.
no.
All right, no. Let's do this. Let's do this.
No. I'm answering the question. Don't do that. I'm gonna stop talking. When I stop talking, you can have it. If you don't show them that they have your support, why should I get in the fight? Why would I do that to myself? And that's the difference between Nick Bosa's jersey sales going up and Kaepernick. The community showed him point blank
sales went up
they
too.
got his back. Go for it.
Kaepernick's jersey sales went up too when he did that. Let's be real. Now, Kaepernick did lose. Let's be real. He did lose his contract. I'm not gonna sit here and say that it wasn't wrong. I'm not gonna say that. Kaepernick, his jersey sales went up after this happened. After they found out what was going on, his jersey sales went up. That's one thing. Colin Kaepernick, he had the support of the community. He had people standing with him. Yeah, man. Yeah, we got you, dude. He had that. Colin Kaepernick is not broke. He is not broke.
You're missing the fucking point.
No. The point I'm trying to make is this. And I'm going back to what you said about the billionaire. I'm going back. Hold on. I'm going back to what you said.
Go for it.
I'm going back to what you said about the billionaire. What I was going to say is this. On the billionaire, billionaires who do step up on our behalf. Because we don't come out and say, hey, we got your back, that doesn't mean they losing money because that we're not supporting them. If you have a company, a billionaire that has a company, you don't think people are still buying their product? Oh, no, I'm saying I'm breaking it down simple, man.
I'm about to give you an answer.
So you want us, every time somebody stands up, we got to come and say, we got your back. We shoulder to shoulder with you.
You motherfucking right.
You don't need to do that all the time.
You have lost your goddamn mind. You motherfucking right.
No, you have.
Let me tell you why. Let me give you a real life example that I don't believe anybody doesn't believe this happened. When Robert Smith 3 years ago paid off 900 Morehouse College graduates, $40 million he dropped to cover their tuition. That helped the whole community. Because you can break it down and say, okay, look, he had all these kids, only 10% were going to go on to do something great. So we're talking about 90 people. But out of those 90 people, he could have possibly have 10 of them to create multi-million-dollar companies. The following year, and you haven't really heard from him since, the IRS went after him during the Trump administration. Now, I can sit back to me, this is how I see it. If you show me that you show me that your goodwill with money will improve my community, and I'm watching, and I know it happens all the time because it's happened throughout history. They use the government and the policy to go after these people that's saying they're going to show support from us. I'm going to make sure that he gets that money back. You do it for the fucking churches?
Hold on.
Wait.
Robert Smith owns one of those venture capitalists or whatever they call the thing. He has a brokerage house or something to that effect.
He does not.
So how are we going to get, unless we invest in his company, which a lot of us probably do and we don't even know it, we have investments with his company. How are we going to direct money to him? We just go sit around, here's $10.
Bro, yes, that's what you do.
Oh, so we're going to send $10 to a billionaire.
Yes, collectively. Let me tell you why. Because he has shown that collectively, he will take that money back and put it into the broader community. He has the knowledge. He has the will.
Okay,
he knows what he's doing.
Wait. Until you said that, I had never even heard that.
I don't care. You're missing the point. I don't care if he said it. You're missing the point. And we're going to get back to the point. I'm not missing the point. Okay, then we just agree to disagree. If I have a billionaire and he cannot deal with, like Byron Allen says, because I know I'm all over the place, I'm starting to stay on the same point. Like Barnard says, the difference between African-American entrepreneurs and businesses, they can't get access to capital markets. We are our capital market. They just know we don't have the will. So when Robert Smith goes out and does something like that, what I say to myself is, shit, let me get him that money back so he can go and do it again. And he can do it again. And he can do it again because he has shown me that he is willing to spend his money for the community. And I don't want him to lose his billionaire status. I need a billionaire to confront other billionaires. I need more black billionaires to be able to confront all these other white billionaires who are on this side generating and supporting this campaign. I need billionaires. And the only way for me to create billionaires, it's been shown, is through us. Because we want them to answer to us.
First of all, hold on. Robert Smith did make his billions helping the community. He made his billions doing in the financial world. He doesn't have. Okay. Oh, listen. You want us to go out and support him.
You damn right.
Support him. Right. Damn, how the fuck do we support him?
Wait. I'm gonna tell you.
No. Stop all the bullshit conversation. High level conversation. How the fuck do I send Robert Smith a $10 check?
Okay, look. You just asked a question that I don't have the answer to.
No, answer the simple question. How do I get my $10 to Robert Smith?
I'm about to tell you. I'm about to say, look.
Then say it.
Number one, that's my point. My point is we haven't created these avenues. My point is we haven't created GoFundMe's to say, hey, let's do this.
Why the fuck would we create a GoFundMe account for a billionaire?
Look, can we have some rules of engagement? Because can't nobody hear us screaming at each other. I'm going to let you talk.
How do we create a GoFundMe for a billionaire, man? Why would we do that? Why would I send my $10 to a billionaire when I can give that $10 to somebody homeless on the street, and it'll be more effective than giving the $10 to the billionaire? If we want to help our people, let's help the people we can see, not somebody, a character. I shouldn't say a character, not somebody that's a billionaire, because he's going to be all right. Hold on. We're the ones that are suffering, not him. The IRS investigated him. How much money he had to give up?
You missing
that part?
You missing my point. You are totally missing my point. And one reason was my point is because goddamn, we can't get through a sentence. Can we have some rules of engagement?
No.
I'm gonna listen. So go for it. I'm gonna let you go first, and I'm gonna go second.
I already said what I said. You need to answer my question.
Okay. Which question? You asked 3. Which one?
Okay, answer all 3. Did you write them down?
Number one, I do not have the solution to the first one about how we can. Steve does, though. Steve just said, what did he say? Where you at? His Student Freedom Initiative can be supported and lighten the load. That's one. So it can't be, that's one. Number two, I think the point I'm trying to make to you is this. Unless you create warriors that can fight your fight and know they have the support of the community, you're going to always be left behind. I think that's what Mike was trying to say about Bosa's jerseys. And if Kaepernick's jerseys went up, sales went up, great for us. But my whole conversation started, and I will stand on this. If you don't have enough people that can get into the gutter and do some of the fights, it's supported by the financial backing of the community, you never gonna have any support. Why would they support? Why would I say, hey, I'm gonna get up here and risk $100 million of my $10.8 billion, and then from me giving $100 million of my $10.8 billion, I'm going to start getting investigated from people, and we know they're there because Trump has basically said, hey, I'm going to send every department after certain people to ruin them. Michael Cohen has attested to that. If you don't think that you have the backing of the community, we've been down this road. We've been down this road 1,000 times. It's actually, at some point, you got to start calling the spade a spade. Do we have the will? It's not like we don't have the money. I'm not talking about the money individually. I'm talking about collectively. And you know we have it collectively because I think I heard black churches get well over $25 billion in tithes per year. And I'm not suggesting. And the only thing I would say, the only answer I had that last question is, why would I do this when I can do this? You can chew gum and walk at the same time. It's a collective. It's not singular.
But collectively, let's say this.
Go for it.
I was listening to, and I thank my cousin for sending this to me. Breakfast Club. And I'm not a Charlemagne the God fan at all. By no stretch of the imagination, I'm a fan. I think he's just an ill-informed person that has a show. And he's trying to make
it. He did a good job on CNN, though.
Yeah, he's trying to make it for all the damage he's done over the years by actually coming out and supporting Harris now. But he did way too much damage, in my opinion, and to begin with, because he's ill-informed, just like a lot of people on radio. Which I stopped. That's why one reason why I stopped listening to a lot of these nationally syndicated shows, because you have people on there talking and they have no idea what the hell they're talking about. That kind of pisses me off. So I stopped listening to nationally syndicated radio shows, and I listen to more talk radio now on Sirius XM. The Urban View. If you ever get a chance to check out Urban View, it's actually a pretty good channel. Where they have a lot of basically it's a lot of black commentators on there, and all of them are well informed about what's actually going on with stuff. So I really appreciate that channel. They even have a black conservative on there. What's that dude's name? Sir Michael something. Now he's wrong on a lot of issues, but he does know what the hell he's talking about. He is informed on stuff. So I kind of appreciate his perspective on things. But anyway, there was a guy who's I don't know if I guess he's the head of the Working People's Party. One of the things that he said on there, I saw in the thing I saw yesterday, and he was on there this week on the Charlemagne, the Breakfast Club. He was on there this week, and he was talking about how they run third-party candidates, but not for national office, for local offices. And he said one of the people that he ran to begin with, that one of the first people he ran, that his party ran, was Letitia James, the Attorney General for the state of New York. And he said she ran for city council first, and we supported her and all that. And basically, a lot of them have the same agenda as Democrats. They just don't have. They try to keep the corporate money out of it to influence people. They want people who are actually out there trying to do things for the community, which is, is a very valid argument. The things he was saying was actually pretty good. So I enjoyed. I actually listened to the whole thing, which I rarely listen to anything on Charlemagne, not for a whole thing, because I can't take the stupid stuff that they say. What's a black conservative? What does conservatism mean? Are you asking me or telling me, or are you making a joke? Anyway.
I'm going to tell you why I'm laughing. Because Michael and I and Steve, I would love to come on your radio show. Let me know anytime you want me to. Just let me know a time and I'll do it. I'm laughing because I was thinking when Mike wrote that statement, I'm going, I just don't understand where people's red line is. I just don't. Because for me, if you are a black conservative, and you know how I feel about this.
Well, he's asking what a black conservative is. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Why is he asking?
An idiot that thinks that he singularly has been responsible for his success or lack thereof. That's what he is to me. And therefore, as long as it don't intrude on his money, he's good. And I fail to see where they really care about the community. Let me tell you why. I keep going back to the one thing I keep talking to people about, and I'm almost ashamed to say that even after going to Morehouse, I didn't look at this better, considering our greatest alumni gave his life for this. The 1964 Civil Rights Act was about voting. And I never hear a black conservative, not one have I heard say the voter suppression laws that they've run across the South, that they fundamentally disagree with it. Not one. Fundamentally disagree with it.
No, they don't disagree with it at all.
Yeah, they don't disagree with it at all. So if you don't disagree with it,
they double down on it. Actually,
they double down on it. How can I have a conversation with you when that is diametrically opposed to what my community needs? How?
I tell you this, in one of the Facebook pages that for alphas a few years ago, there was, and I said this before on the show, there was a black conservative elected official.
I don't know what that is. I'm like, Mike, what's a black conservative? Somebody in the Republican Party? I agree with Mike.
What you said. Someone who runs antithetical to supporting the black community. Well, let's say this. I can't put that blanket statement on this. Some of them do. They just subscribe to a point of view that the government should not be giving out handouts, that we need to do things on our own. Some majority of them are probably against they're anti-abortion. They are, as I said, against government handouts, including welfare and all of that. It's funny how conservatives are against welfare, but not against corporate welfare, which I think is something. But
they never can have that conversation with you. What you just said, never. When you say, dude, since Reconstruction, we have historical evidence of black folks paying taxes, which is what the civil rights movement was about and voting was about. Black folks paying taxes to the system, getting taxes taken away from them in every way, shape, form possible, whether it's sales tax, personal income tax, state tax, and that money being used
to suppress them.
And to give out loans and grants and everything to the majority population, which is in and of itself is welfare. But you won't give anything to the community. And to top it off, for those black conservatives, African Americans have literally gone out and built communities from nothing. We both know that. Nothing. And yeah, Mike just gave a definition. And they come and burn them down. And they got the audacity to talk to us about DEI.
Well, something Mike said, commitment to traditional values. The question is, whose values? That is a problem. That's the thing I have a problem with them. They say traditional values. Are they talking about public values or the ones that they do in private? Because that's two totally different things. Huh?
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
We have been committed to their traditional values. We have mimicked them, and they still burn this shit down. We have literally mimicked the white Christian traditional values because we gave up
stuff up by your bootstraps.
Right.
This literally. And that,
literally.
It's because before there was welfare, we built communities when there was no welfare. When there was no small business association, no SBA loans, and our farmers not being able to get loans from the USDA and still thriving, and they still took our stuff from us.
From collective groups, never singly. It's a collective.
Let me finish this. Let me finish that story about the conservative.
Go ahead.
So, this guy was championing the fact that he's a conservative and he's in the state legislature in North Carolina. Frat brother. I said, so are you one of those conservatives, one of those Republicans that are trying to suppress the black vote in North Carolina? I never got a response from him. Matter of fact, he left the group. He left the Facebook group after I said that to him. So these conservatives, and Leonard and I have said this before, I don't have a problem with you being a conservative, a black conservative, as long as what you're doing is trying to help our community. I have a problem with Byron Donalds, Mushmouth Scott, Clarence Thomas. I have a problem with them. Candace Owens. I have a problem with them. I remember back in the day, they used to call Jesse Jackson and Reverend Al Sharpton. Reverend Jesse Jackson, Reverend Al Sharpton. They used to call them poverty pimps. because they were saying they were making money off the poor. These black conservatives, they're worse than anything that they ever did. The stuff they take advantage of, they take money from whites who are trying to suppress us and oppress us, and try to feed us bullshit that is for our benefit, and it's never for our benefit. They've never done anything for us. The conservatives in this country have never done a damn thing for us, and they never will, because their brand of conservatism means that they have to suppress our rights. That's their brand of conservatism. The fact that they keep coming up with these schemes every time we and this also goes back to Shelby v. Holder. I think that was in 2011 when Shelby County in Alabama sued Eric Holder because they want who was then Obama's attorney general, because they wanted to get rid of the one of the sections for the Voting Rights Act. And the one section of the Voting Rights Act they wanted to get rid of was the section that said if a state wanted to change anything about voting in that state, they had certain states in the southern states, the ones that were traditionally had segregation in the South, that if they wanted to change anything with dealing with elections in their state, they had to get pre-approval from the Justice Department. They specifically asked for that. And Supreme Court says, oh, that, and their argument was, well, the South isn't racist anymore. We don't have those things, though. We don't do that anymore. And as soon as they turned around, and as soon as they the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Holder, first thing they did was change voting laws in different states, voting ID laws. And they have been doing things ever since I think it was 2011. They've been doing things. Every time there's an election and Republicans lose the election, they change stuff. They want to change things. They want to change the rules, make it harder to vote. And it all goes, it all goes back to that one Supreme Court decision.
Yeah, but black conservatives never. And I want to address something that Steve just said. Black conservatives never, ever bring that up, and we don't hold them accountable. And people ask, well, how do you?
We don't hold them accountable because first of all, how are we gonna hold them accountable? They don't. A lot of times they don't even represent our community.
I don't know how y'all three feel about this, but I'm gonna say the same thing I've been saying, and I want to say something first because Steve just brought up somebody that I admire, and a lot of people say this about Booker T. Washington, but after I read Up From Slavery, I don't have anything but respect for Booker T. Yeah, that you could do that and bring yourself to that level and to start a school that has educated so many people. He obviously saw something that he obviously was a brilliant man, and he saw something that other people couldn't see at the time. In my opinion, I say this. Me and my wife argued about this with W. Du Bois. He obviously saw something that other people couldn't see, which is, hey man, you become the expert in this, you become the expert. And those early students at Tuskegee were known in that area to be the experts at agriculture, brick making, building making, carpentry. They were known in that region to be in the experts. They were known, and they could work anywhere in the country. And he understood that, hey, it was going in his lifetime. I think he understood this. In his lifetime, he understood that it's only going to be so many things I can accomplish before I can turn this baton over to anybody else. And that is to make them so good at what they do, from carpentry. Man, when I read that they built the first building by making their own bricks because they were sleeping in tents, I was just blown away. That just floored me.
All the buildings, all the buildings, the initial buildings on campus, they built all of them. And majority of them are still standing.
So I say to myself, as somebody who's read The Souls of Black Folks, who the fuck am I to talk about Booker T. Washington? That's what I say to myself. When anybody starts that bullshit, I go, you got to be kidding me. You couldn't stand next to Booker T. Washington and his way of thinking. You can criticize now, but try to put yourself back into the situation he was in.
Okay, hold on. There's one other thing too, along the same lines with that.
Okay. Let me just say this. So I say that to say, I just want to address that. I say that to say, it was a collective. And I say, you asked me a question I want to answer. I want to give you a short answer. You said, how can we make them pay? I keep saying the same thing. And some people just have to be put out in the wilderness. You got to ostracize them because all we got is our bodies. I don't have to
ostracize. Ain't nobody. Hold on. First of all, the black conservative elected officials in our black conservative elected officials that are black, not one of them represents the majority black or
they sure don't. They sure
not
don't.
one. I don't we can't make them pay it that way. We can't make them pay that way, and we do ostracize them. Come on, man. Ain't none of them coming to the cookout.
And I always think I must be being gaslighted. Remember, you asked me to go to this beer thing with Byron Donaldson. Remember about 3 months ago?
Yeah, we talked about it.
I literally was thinking to myself, I'm not inviting that motherfucker to shit. You have not earned the right to be in the presence of black men. If you want to go have a conservative issue with the few black men that think like you do, go for it. Just don't fuck with me. Because I know where I stand. I know what you're not doing. I know what you're not. Now, I truly believe this. I always wanted to ask you this. I always say Tim Scott and James Clyburn must have some secret pact that the rest of us don't know about. They must. Because Jim Clyburn has never publicly come out and criticized Tim Scott. So there must be something that they have that I just don't know about. There must be. I remember I heard somebody say that Jesse Jackson told him, no, we need you inside this. You keep talking what you're talking. And that's a smart man. I might not be as evolved as they are.
Well, see, hold on. That going back to what you said about Booker T. Washington, which is the point I wanted to make while you were actually talking about him.
Go ahead.
One of the things that came out after he died was that a lot of the progressive lawsuits and things of that nature that was going on during that time, a lot of progressive ideas that was being pushed forward. He was financing that. He was being. You ever see the movie Spook That's Set by the Door?
I read the book.
You ever see that? Yeah,
I didn't see.
Oh, I read the book. Whatever. In that instance, what happened was the men.
Mike, we don't have any sound. Is Mike saying we don't have any sound?
I can hear you.
Lost sound? Huh?
I don't know. I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
I don't know what's going
on. Go ahead.
But he was secretly financing all that stuff. He did a Spook That's Set by the Door type situation. He was literally taking money from these white people that subscribe to black people staying in a who were kind of financing him to keep black people in a certain place and funneling that money to more progressive programs. And nobody knew. Nobody knew about that. So I don't know if Tim Scott is a spook that's set by the door. I don't know. And that goes along what you said about him and Clyburn and all that. I don't know. Maybe Clyburn is one of those people who say, we don't disrespect, we don't publicly disrespect each other. I'm not sure. I don't know. I have no idea. If that may be the case, because Clyburn is shit. If he ain't 80, he damn near 80. Old school. And back in the day, you never publicly criticized another black person. That was an in-house conversation. You never went out and publicly criticized. Yeah. So what?
He's 81. Go for it.
Yeah. So that might be the case why he has never publicly criticized Tim Scott. That may be the case. I don't know. But he doesn't do it.
I know we're coming up on time. I just want to say, I want to give you a chance to give a closing statement. I just think that from what I've seen and where I am, and Steve, make sure you send me your number, direct message me your number. I'd love to talk to you. I hadn't talked to you in years. I was just talking about you with somebody the other day, though. I'm gonna tell you who. I just know that we, in my opinion, we are sending a message Faye Cobb, Steve. Faye Cobb, Peyton. That's who I was with lunch with the other day. She brought your name up. We seem to have lost the collective will to call a spade amongst ourselves. And it has really hurt us. And I've been saying, and I think me and Mike have not talked on the phone. I feel like next week, and I've told you this, we are like sitting ducks because we refuse to have certain conversations. And it's okay if everything goes fine, but it's going to be bad if everything goes remotely bad, because we're just sitting ducks, because we haven't collectively listened to these people who've been trying to tell us. We haven't collectively listened to Claude Anderson. We have collectively not listened to John Hope Bryant. Well, I don't always agree with him, but I think he really, really wants great things for the community.
But Leonard, okay. You have a level of understanding and a level of I'm failing to think of the right word, but basically is this: you on a different level than a lot of people, most people. Hell, you're on a different level than I am. You listen to people and know things that I have no idea what you're talking about, who these people are. And I think I'm a pretty astute person when it comes to politics. But you're on a different level than most people. You can't expect people to be on your level and expect people to be on your level. The people you're naming, they have no idea. The first person you name, I've never even heard of before.
Who? Claude Anderson?
I don't think I've ever heard of Claude Anderson.
You never heard of?
Maybe I have. Maybe
I bet you $100 you've seen video of Claude Anderson. I know you well enough to know.
Maybe not. I don't know. But the name sounds familiar. But I have no, off the top of my head, I can't remember who it is. But what I'm saying is this: we're talking up here, and the people we need to talk to are down here.
Okay, so can I address that right quick? One of the things
we just need to stop preaching at people and educate them.
Let me say this. One of the reasons why one of the reasons I've said this, Steve, I truly want to hear Steve. Steve was always brilliant to me in college. One of the things I always say is this: I truly try to bring it down to where I think the community can understand it, because I'm very aware of that I'm just, my hobby is just to read shit. Like I tell people, I can be in a doctor's office and pick up a medical manual if I'm bored, just to read, because I don't like being, I can't do it. But the church example is, I can't give a better example of collectiveness. I can't. I just can't give it. Everybody in our community, 75% of all African Americans are Christians, which means that I told you somewhere along the way, 75% of us were raised in a Black church that had the same traditions almost across the board. Because Richard Allen was just a beast. Say what you want to say, but the man was a beast to be able to think the way he was thinking in the 1700s. To have an AME church in damn near every city and every neighborhood. He was a beast. One thing we do know is all Black churches get tithes. It's how all Black insurance companies started, almost all Black banks, because it was a collective. We all know that. So we all know that if you don't support the collective, the group moves far, individuals move quick. But the group provides protection. And one of the things I've talked to you about over time, and I'm so frustrated about, I was just talking to my guys last night, is I can go on the golf course, I can go on a bourbon tasting, I can go to tailgates, I can go to anything I can go to. And it makes no sense that 80% of the brothers there don't want to talk about just stuff that I consider basic, which is collectively we move further. And that you have to have people who can speak for you, even if they made it. If I'm Robert Smith, honestly, be honest with yourself. What incentive does Robert Smith have to come back to us? He's worth $10.8 billion. He's already proven that he doesn't need the community to be wealthy. He doesn't have to come back to do anything. He didn't go to HBCU. Either way, he went to Cornell and University of Colorado. But he did. He did. And so if he did and he makes this big public announcement, why wouldn't we collectively, like Steve said, go out and give money to the student? I never knew about it. I'm glad he told me, because to your point, a lot of people didn't know about it. I never knew about the Student Freedom Initiative. Now that I know, I'm going to send some money to it today. Not a lot, but I'm going to send something, because collectively we can send something. Well, how does it not go? Well, man, he's shown us. He's given us an example that he's willing to do it. Why not just make him the leader of it? Why does everybody have to be the big dog? Why not make him? He gave willingly and freely. You can say, well, he got a tax break. I don't give a fuck about that. Paid off, what was it? 900? Was it 900? I mean, is it a lot? Tuition. He has shown that he is worthy of us trusting him. We just don't. But you can't tell me that we don't have the money, because I watch churches. We give it to Jesus. Let's be honest. A black woman on welfare, give it to Jesus, even if it's $2. You should find a way to put some money in that plate. You know, so you can't say that you can't do it. The question is, do you have the will to do it? Do we have the will to talk to one another? For me to say, man, I got Mike, I got Steve, I got Kenneth, and now I got 10, and we all gonna band together. And no matter what happens, we got each other's back. We give them the sense of protection. Hey, man, wherever you need me, I'm gonna show up. Blah 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 blah. Because people do this too. At least I think. Y'all might think different. They have been the stuff that we have taken in the last election cycle. I say all the time, Kenneth, tell me I don't say this. You never would have said it about the Nation of Islam. You never would have said it about the Crips. You never would have said it about the Bloods. You never would have said it about the GDs. You say what you think you can get away with. And some of the stuff that's been said and done is from people who really think there's no consequence from Christian black men of any sort. So they're going beyond the pale. Even if you're not a practicing Christian, they're going beyond the pale. And I just can't stomach it as a man. I have to, but I'm always going, did you just really get on the show, you mediocre white boy, Tucker Carlson, and suggest and made a joke out of assassinating somebody who's black just because they're running for president? You made a joke. We would never do that. Because I don't believe he would have did that if he thought the Crips were involved. Because he was like, oh, no, I'm not messing with them Negroes. Because them Negroes kind of crazy, and they might have somebody knocking on my door. Just let me know I can be knocking on the door. So I'm going to tread like healthy fear is not a bad thing. It's not. Healthy fear is not a bad thing. And with LeBron James came out and did what he did, man, I so applaud. Man, I love LeBron James. I will die on a hill when somebody starts talking about LeBron James. You kiss my ass. Don't talk to me. Get away from me. Don't say shit to me. Because he put his money where his mouth is. And he don't have to. That's what I love about him. He don't, like you said, he don't have to. He does it because he loves us. I'm done for the day. Steve, please send me that number. Go ahead, Kenneth. Got somebody coming over.
Well, we never got a chance to talk about the other stuff.
You want to extend it for 15 minutes? I'm good. I don't have any place to be. So, I got somebody coming over.
Okay. Well, hey, we can still do this.
I can do 15
minutes.
What
I'm saying, one of the things I want to talk about today is the dynamic of how the Trump campaign is just like shooting itself in the foot these days. I really and truly, it's amazing the stuff that they're saying and doing. Like that rally they had in New York City last Sunday. That was crazy. You got people up there making racist jokes in pretty much the most diverse city in America, talking about Puerto Ricans in New York, calling Puerto Rico a garbage thing. And then, like you posted the yesterday, and I posted it too, posted it last night, about people doubling down on say, "Oh, Puerto Rico is garbage." And you go to Pennsylvania the next day and try to beg for Latino support for your campaign. That shit is crazy.
Did he really beg? I look. Did he really beg? I saw him in Arizona yesterday. I'm tired of seeing him. Steve Bannon has done a hell of a job with what he said his goal was. I watched somebody say that today. I watched Mindy Hassan say this. Steve Bannon has done a hell of a job of filling the airways with shit, which is what his goal was. Let's fill it up with so much shit that you can't distinguish the truth. He's done a hell of a job doing that. Hell of a job. Yes, he is the GOAT on and off the court. That's my dude. I don't care what nobody say. Steve, I'm about to send you my number too.
Oh, but anyway, that making disparaging guy making jokes about black people eating watermelon and to a black guy at a Trump rally. I really want to know who that fool was. Sit in the front row, because you know when you're on stage, well, you may not know this. When you're on stage, you can't see beyond the first 5 rows. You cannot see beyond the first 5 rows. And I am not Keith. I'm Kenneth. He been calling me Keith all day. My name clearly says Kenneth. Anyway.
Mike, I know it's a spelling error. I know it's a spelling error.
There ain't no damn spelling error. That's the second time today he been calling me
I got your back, Mike. I got your back. It was a spelling error.
Anyway, as I was saying, but yeah,
stop talking all that bullshit. People get your name right.
Oh, okay. All right, Brian. All right, Brian. I always like Brian better anyway. Brian and Harriet. They're my 2 favorite ones. 2 favorite
ones. Wait, Kenneth. I'm so surprised you brought that up. I thought you were gonna bring up at the rally them playing Dixie before Byron Donalds came out.
Oh, I was getting to that too. I was getting to that too. And then he coming up there, he got the nerve to come on there and talk about, I don't want nobody telling my son going to school and telling him he could be gay or some bullshit he said. Ain't nobody saying that about your damn son.
After they played Dixie before he came out.
Yeah, they played. I wish I was in the land of Dixie. And he walk on the stage like, dude, you ain't got no damn self-respect.
Mike, this Mike and Steve, look, before I get banned, y'all telling me he don't deserve a collective ass kicking. I'm like, bruh. But hey, like I said before, I might not be that involved. Maybe there's a black cabal somewhere we need people here, and it's probably perfect because I don't get me to talking.
Well, I'll say this. Like I said before, I don't have a problem with you being a black conservative, but I do have a problem with you being a black conservative and subscribe to the racist rhetoric of the Republican Party that's going on now. You accept it like it's you let them do it, and you don't call them out on it. One thing I can kind of sort of respect Michael Steele now, because he's finally calling them out of it. But the only reason he's calling them out of it because they kicked him out of the Republican Party for the most part.
And he helped start this shit.
Oh yeah. He helped start this shit because he could have tapped down on this shit back when they had the what was it, the Freedom Caucus, and what was the one when Obama was in
the Freedom Caucus?
Yeah, Freedom Caucus.
He
could have tapped down this bullshit when that happened, but he didn't do it.
He was too busy telling people he was just as important as president. He was the first black RNC chairman.
Yeah. So he came to the Brazil
yes, that's what we talking about.
Tea Party. That's what it was. Tea Party.
Which is the Freedom Caucus now. That's the Freedom Caucus
now. But he could have stopped that years ago. And once they kicked his ass out of the Republican Party, now he's come to realization, oh, I really am black. Because he forgot that he was black for a while. He really forgot that he was black.
Kenneth,
and then they reminded him, no, you black for real. Don't let because we let you in this position. That don't mean we don't. That don't mean we gonna let you get away with stuff. And he finally came home.
I'm gonna ask you something. I want to know if you thought about this. Everybody, did you notice that Kamala Harris had to go to all these bodegas to get to Puerto Ricans? And bodegas are just local. Correct me if I'm wrong. Local grocery stores, convenience stores, owned by Puerto Ricans and Hispanics. Right? That's what a bodega is.
For the most part,
Did you notice that she didn't go to one black grocery store? And you know why she didn't go to one black grocery store to get a pulse on black folks? There ain't none.
There is one.
Where?
New Orleans.
There might be two in the country. I looked it up.
Yeah, one. Wendell Pierce started one in New York. In New Orleans.
Out of business. Gone.
Two of Pierce. It's out of business already?
Gone. And what that tells you is what I've been saying. Is what John Hope Bryant says, is what Claude Anderson says, is what I started the conversation off with. We don't even have a black grocery store magnet. Is that how you say it? How you say it, Kenneth? M-A-G-N-E-T. When you talk about a rich person, M-A-G-A-N-A-T-E.
Yeah.
We don't even have a rich grocery store magnet. With all the money we spend on groceries, we don't have one. We don't have one. So we don't even go to a black grocery store because we don't own a black grocery store because black folks won't go to black grocery stores.
No. First of all, I don't think that's the case. I think it's the case. First of all, down here in Augusta, there is there's certain areas, and I've said this in majority of too many black neighborhoods, predominantly black neighborhoods in the country. There's food deserts, which is food desert is a place that doesn't have a grocery store. Basically, a place that doesn't sell fresh fruits and vegetables.
They don't have a dollar store.
I said fresh fruits and vegetables, not processed food.
That's what
we have Dollar Generals. We have Dollar Generals and gas stations. And seriously, I talk to my students about this all the time. I tell them all the time about food deserts. I said majority of people in poor neighborhoods, they get their food from convenience stores or Dollar General or Dollar Tree or all them dollar things. That's where they grocery shop. I said a lot of us live off of processed food, candy, sodas, stuff like that, which is one of the reasons why our health has been declining over the years in the black community, because we don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. And I'm sort of guilty of that myself. I don't eat enough. I eat some, but not as much as I should.
We're not talking about your damn diet.
Say what?
We're not talking about your diet.
No, what I'm saying is this. The point I'm trying to make is this. The fact that we don't have grocery stores in our neighborhoods, and even when they do have them, like the Walmart that was not too far from where you live, that shit closed down.
I'm gonna tell you a story.
And they always use the excuse that shrinkage is the reason why they closed down. And shrinkage is basically too much stealing. People are stealing from the stores.
Can I tell you a personal story? An Augusta story. My dad owned 3 supermarkets in Augusta. Supermarket number 1, supermarket number 2, supermarket number 3. His partners were Joey Miles and I want to say John Ruffin. We used to come up here to where I used to have my warehouse at to a place called Associated Grocers that all the independent grocery stores would buy their groceries from. My dad used to drive a car, come up here and get it to keep those stores stacked. And my dad, y'all don't want to hear this, said one of the reasons we had to close those stores down was because of shrinkage. Even though we were providing the service, he had one right near Josie. He had one right there on Twig Street, the corner of Twigs and I want to say Twigs and Milledgeville. That building used to be a grocery store.
Oh, neighborhood.
Yeah, he's right at Twig Street in Milledgeville. That red building where that gas station used to be, it used to be grocery supermarket number 1.
You talking about it where the V was?
Yes, right there, that brick building. That brick building. That used to be
was a grocery store there. When was this?
That was supermarket number 1. You might have just been very little before by the time they closed. They owned them for 6 years. And this is what I'm talking about. And this is not me just, my dad would talk about this, and the Mr. Miles would talk about this. They were trying to provide a service, but they were having so much shrinkage that was cutting into any profits they were making. So eventually they said 3. They decided to close them. They had to close them down because they didn't have access to the capital markets to have a line of credit that would let them get past the shrinkage. Now, I'm going to tell you a story right now because I know we're running out of time. I'll make it quick. We got a Walmart in our neighborhood, and we literally had to beg the Walmart to come back open because it was one of the stores that was scheduled for permanent closing. And one of the things they have told us is we're going to take this chance. See, look, my dad has 4 grocery stores. That is what I'm talking about when I say, Steve probably can say this better than me because I don't know how to say it, how I'm gonna say it, and I'm not trying to be insulting. Until we collectively say that grocery store is here for the benefit of the group and not, oh, he got insurance that'll take care of it. Because collectively for that neighborhood, that grocery store is good for that neighborhood. That grocery store, that's their community, that's their customers. They want to have fresh fruit, they have fresh meat, fresh bread, blah, 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 blah. Until the community gets together and says, nah, y'all not doing that shit in this store. Because you're going to hurt everybody. Our Walmart is there right now. And one of the reasons why we wanted the Walmart back so bad was because we served so many elderly in my community and they didn't have a pharmacy. When it burned down, we didn't have a pharmacy they could get to. A lot of them couldn't drive. So they were
down?
Huh? It burnt down. Remember, it burnt down. It sat there for 2 years. There was a permanent closure. So now what we're dealing with is they back up the shrinkage.
I didn't know it was burned down because that happened after I left Clark, Atlanta. So I didn't know. I didn't know it burned down. That's the reason why I closed down.
Told us, I don't know what Steve's dad has said. Walmart has told us this is the level of shrinkage we can have. If it gets here, we're coming to close the store down. If it gets here, we can have this. But once it gets here, it's not even worth our ROI to keep it open. And you can't, so right now what we're dealing with is how do we get out to people who we know you're hurting for food. But if you keep stealing, you will have nothing here. So when I brought up that subject about Black grocery stores, and Steve, thank God your dad has 4. So now I know there's at least 4 in the country. It's still in Oakland, right? It's Oakland.
He said 4. He said had.
4.
Had. He didn't say he still had it.
Mindsets must be changed. Hard to change when individuals are not valid and have to look out for self. Collective responsibility gives for individual value. You know what? You're absolutely right.
And one thing that I say this, we do have to make sure.
He had 4 stores.
That's what I thought. I did saw the had part. One thing that I think we need to, if we do open grocery stores in our neighborhood, stress to the community. Hey, listen, I understand there's going to be an element of people who want to steal, but maybe let's work something out. Let's give people in the community jobs. You know, if you feel you got to go ahead and steal, why don't you just come here and work for us and get paid? And then you can afford to buy the stuff. You get the food at a discount or something to that effect. Get a 10% discount on the food, something to that effect. I think we just can't give up on the community. because what we're doing when we give up on the community like that, all we're doing is, what we're doing is giving up on ourselves, giving up on the next generation. Because you don't understand, being in the classroom now, I tell my students all the time, y'all need to stop eating those Taki things. Yeah, I understand they had black and brown people. Steve, I know that. I said, and people who are stealing, you know who the people are stealing. Majority of the time, you can tell who they are. Same people coming in all the time stealing. Offer them a job. And I'm not saying that's the only solution, but maybe that's something could help curb some of that. But what I was saying, what the point I was trying to make with the young people today, they eat a lot of processed food, man. These kids come in my class with Takis and hot Cheetos and all those other things, which are bad for them. They are bad for them. And I try as much as possible to tell them, listen, you eat all this. If this is what you eat all day long, eat all this junk like this all day long, you will have an ulcer by the time you are 20 years old. I'm telling you, you would have an ulcer. It will cause all kinds of health issues.
I say we go back to, this is going to be radical. I know it's going to be radical. And now I'm going to let Kenneth have the last word because I got to go. I say we go back to the old Geronimo Pratt. Steve, you're going to love this one. The Geronimo Pratt's father's way, which is every community has a council. And they have a council now of men and women. And that council has some soldiers. And that council gets to dictate the rules of engagement in that community. Period. And we don't have to tell nobody. We don't have to snitch on one another. We have to trust that council of whether it's going to be 6 men and women or 10 men and women. And you're going to say, okay, like Mike said, who's the soldiers and who's not, who's the enforcers and who not, to say, this is collectively what's good for the community. You're going to act this way. You will not have community engagement. You will not be allowed to come in here and do any type of business in the community. And if you do, and when people tell me it doesn't work, I always go back to my favorite example. And Kenneth, you already know what it is. People react to what you let them get away with, including our people. And if the community does not make a decision to say, as my little brother has told me time and time again, how you're going to police yourselves, then you're going to force us to come and police you, and you're not going to like it. And I get it. We're always on this precipice. If we do too much, they're going to send us to jail because they don't want our communities to be safe. But like Geronimo Pratt said in his book, in the Geronimo Pratt book, like he said, you could not do anything in that Louisiana black section town. So much so that the sheriff didn't even come make an arrest in that community. He went to that council and said, this is what we got this kid on or this man on, blah, 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 blah. And then they went and got him and took him downtown to make sure all his rights and his due process was met. Until we make up our mind to say that this is not working and to have an honest conversation that it's not working, as educated black men, we're stuck. And that's all I'm saying from day one. Until we make up because it's so out of whack, and we just have to get the will to do it. And because you're not going to tell me, I keep telling y'all, not going to tell me it can't be done because, update. I think I told you, I have a park 2 blocks up the street from my house that before at night, it was always some young guys running, not always doing bad things, the regular stuff, smoking weed, talking loud in the middle of the night, just the regular stuff that, kids do. Those Muslims moved on that street, and you won't see a person in that park past 8 in less than 60 days. You cannot go into that park past 8. Now, if I had went up there and said, hey, man, I need y'all in the park, I'm going to get pushed back. Up you, blah, blah, Kenneth, you get it in school. Up you, what you going to do, blah, blah, blah. No, I got my piece, I got my switch, blah, 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 blah. That's what I'm going to get. My wife said this. I don't see nobody at that park after dark. I said, because the Muslims move across the street. And they told me when they moved across the street, hey man, G, that's what they call it. AG, OG, we just want you to know that, hey, it's not going to be any illicit activities in this park anymore. We just want you to know. 20 of them. You don't have to worry about this park. So don't tell me it doesn't work. It's just that they got the will to do it. So anyway, man, it's 11:32. Go on, say what you got to say so I can get out of here. I got a guy, technician about to come over here.
Mm-hmm. They use bathroom again, huh?
No, I don't.
All right, y'all. Listen. If you have not already voted, please go out and vote.
Please go out and
vote. Early voting ended yesterday in Georgia, and we smashed all kinds of records in terms of voter turnout for early voting. It was like 3.5 million, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around there. Early voting, which is
Stephanie on here. Did you see Stephanie on here? Hey, Stephanie.
Yeah, she's been talking for the last few minutes. The last 10 minutes.
Shots fired. Shots fired. You just shooting today, aren't you?
Who you talking about?
You said I've been talking for the last 12 minutes. Shot fired. Go ahead. Go for it.
Anyway, here in Georgia, like I said, they set all kinds of records. And if I'm not mistaken, throughout the United States, early voting has, they set the record for early voting throughout the United States. Close to like 60 million people already voted, which is tremendous. So if you have not, had a chance to vote, and you want to vote, please go out and vote. Please go out. Most of our listeners, most of the people who pay attention to us and faithfully listen to our podcast and all this little humble thing that we do, most of you are supporters of Kamala Harris. So please go out and vote for her if you haven't already done it. If you've already done it, make sure that some people are out there, the people in your circle of influence, that they go out there and vote. Hopefully, I'm getting ready to go out, and I just got a notification from my cousin about it. Get out to vote something over by paying today. So if you have the time, please go out and do something. Go out there and show people. He got my name right this time. Go out there and show people you vote. I have on my shirt today, it says, don't boo, vote. If you can see it now, I can't pull it up there. Don't boo, vote. Wear your Kamala Harris gear. Unlike Leonard, I do subscribe to the NFL. I do love the NFL. It's one of my releases. And I am a Cowboy fan, been a Cowboy fan since I was a little kid. So I'm going to the game tomorrow. But I'm also going to wear my Kamala Harris shirt tomorrow to the game too. With my cowboy hat. Huh?
They play the Falcons?
Yeah, they play Falcons tomorrow. I will be there. I will be there. So
you parking in front of the house? You parking in front of the house?
I might do that. I just thought about that. I forgot about that. I am driving up.
See how you dogged me, and I just offered you a handout, and how you see. I'm a giving man.
Yeah, I appreciate the handout, but I'm still gonna talk about you. What? I'm supposed to change who I am because you nice to me? No, I'm gonna be who I is.
Maybe for 10 seconds, at least till you secure the parking space.
Hey, I may not publicly acknowledge you and your great works and all that on the podcast, but we together.
Just treat me as a poor version. Treat me as a poor version from Robert Smith and take us out of here, please. I gotta go. No, I don't have to use the bathroom.
Yeah. That's what it means, y'all. He got the shit. So. So anyway, y'all, seriously,
look what he said.
People out to vote.
Mike, you can park in front of the house, no problem. Just let me know.
All right, hit me up, Mike. Hit me up because that's actually
you can park in front of the house. I'll see you my number, no problem. He gonna park in front of the house. It's only.
I've actually identified some areas that I want to areas of Augusta that I want to do that in. So we hit me up. We can talk. I'll DM you my phone number. But get somebody out to vote, encourage other people to vote, and we will be back next week Next week is Tuskegee's homecoming, so I'll be down. We do the podcast. I'll be down in Auburn doing the podcast. I may be in my car, but we're gonna do it because we're gonna be celebrating Kamala Harris's win.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna be celebrating her win. I'm proclaiming it now because we ain't going back to Trump stuff. So, and once we do that, y'all, be prepared for the bullshit that comes after her win. That comes from the other side. That be prepared for it. Get your mind right. Get your life right. So we can be prepared for all what's coming down the pike, and just let them know. Don't start none, won't be none.
Hey,
Simple
man,
as that.
I'm not gonna touch that one. Okay, y'all. Appreciate it, Mike. You're welcome to park in front of the house. I send you my number. I know Kenneth's gonna park in front of the house. Let me know. And it's only a 2-block walk, or what? Kenneth, you say 2 blocks? Maybe 2.5 blocks.
2.5 blocks, something like that.
Yeah, maybe
it's a long hill. It's a long walk up that damn hill. That hill is a motherfucker. I don't know what. Oh man, I did not know that hill was that bad. It don't look that bad when you're driving. When you're walking, like, oh damn, this hill. Your knees will be hurt by the time you get to the top of the hill.
Steve, send me the number. I sent you mine. I'll give you a call a little later today. Kenneth, peace.
Deuces. See y'all later.